Hey guys, welcome back. BTCKR here, and we're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. It is the week of July 18th, 2024. Current challenge is New 52 Superman. It's a 1-week repeat. Required characters are Flash, Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman. Available at the lowest level as Bronze, and Silver, which is exactly how we like it. Easy access for anybody to finish the challenge. Just a reminder that there is a random chance at getting free Deadshot. On the expert level, ladder 4, on the 10th fight, there is a random chance that you will get a copy of one of the opponents. One of them happens to be Suicide Squad Deadshot, and the other two are Silvers, so you know which one you want to get. There have been lots of talk in the past about, well, this is how you do it to make sure you get Deadshot. None of them work. It is really totally random. So, New 52 Superman's passive is Rage of Krypton. Superman receives plus 100% basic damage buff for accumulating power, stacks up to 3 times, and can't be rinsed. Superman takes 15% less damage with every Justice League teammate. Batman, The Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, Cyborg, and Wonder Woman. He's got 1300 attack and 1500 health. He was last available August 17th, 2023. So he's got good high stats, and he's an okay card on his own. He's got 2 parts to his passive, and we'll deal with the easy part first. The second part is decent. He maxes out at 30% decreased damage because his passive doesn't count him. So he needs 2 other teammates to be Justice League to get the max 30%. The first part is the most interesting and worth playing around with. And how it works is that for every 2 bars of power that he generates, he boosts his basic damage by 100% up to a max of 300%. Even if you spend power or have it drained, you don't need to hit 2 bars to get it. It's cumulatively counted, and it doesn't reset when you spend the power, so you just have to accumulate the power at some point. Unfortunately, it's only basic damage that gets boosted, not the specials. So here's the dilemma. Do you gear him to generate power faster to take advantage of his passive? Or do you make him more of a tank so that you let his passive take care of his offensive potential and use his gear slots to make him harder to kill? And when he was first introduced, no Tantu Totem, no Master's Death card, so power generation was pretty slow. New 52 Wonder Woman was already around when New 52 Superman was introduced, and she could give him power, but it took so long for her to generate it, and she was only giving him half of the power that she spent. Neither of their passives were having much of an impact on fights. At least not on fights that were finishing quickly, which is the kind that we like to prioritize. So after Tantu Totem and Master's Death card were introduced, everything changed. Wonder Woman could generate a huge amount of power. She could pass it along to Superman, and by the time you needed to bring him into the fight, his passive had already boosted his basic damage a lot. So you no longer had to waste slots boosting power generation, and you could use his gear slots to make him harder to kill. We originally had him in our Justice League team, link in the description, and we had him with all 3 gear slots to reduce damage. And so here's the strategy, right? New 52 Wonder Woman was a teammate. She would also reduce his damage from his passive. The third team slot could be Justice League to reduce damage even more with his passive. Or you could try to boost damage reduction by 20% if you use New 52 Shazam. So you get the benefit of Shazam's passive instead of Superman's passive. But he doesn't count, right? So that you don't get both. You only get the 25% instead of 15. And there's lots of different options though. Like that was our first instinct to play him that way. But if you really want to unlock his potential and make the most of him with his passive, he almost by definition can't be the star. I mean, he really needs New 52 Wonder Woman. You have other options. You have lots of options for a third teammate. You could even boost his power generation with Regime Green Lantern, and Regime Green Lantern counts as a Justice League teammate that would also reduce the damage taken by 15%. The main reason he's no longer in our Justice League team is that it takes time to boost his damage. And a lot of times we need a basic damage dealer at the beginning of the fight if we want to get through the fight quickly. So the footage you're watching right now is an attempt to use him differently. We've made him the special specialist. This actually activates his passive very quickly. Tagging in with Tantu Totem Master's Deathstroke gives him 2 bars right away, triggering that first 100% boost to basic damage. If he knocks out the first opponent with Special 2, he gets 2 bars back again, and that immediately triggers another 100% boost to his basic damage. Now, using him like this, we can see his Special 2 is really good. It has 3 main hits, each does a significant amount of damage, and there is enough separation between the hits that if any hit knocks out an opponent, the next hit will land on the next opponent. That is not true. I mean, we've seen it so many times. It's not true of a lot of specials. Most specials will whiff on one of the hits during the time that it takes for the next opponent to tag in. So, yeah, that's not a common thing to have such an effective Special 2. And when you're watching this fight, you can see how quickly he can max out his basic damage boost to 300% by the little symbols at the near his health bar. The problem is he's still your special specialist, so he does more damage with specials. So finding the opportunity to start wanting to do basic damage, not really there. The one specific case use would be some of the special dodgers, like Dawn of Justice Batman or Wally West Flash, where they dodge, you get your power back. That counts as power generation. So if they dodge enough, and at some point you just don't want to take any more damage, you've boosted his basic damage up enough that that could be your sort of backup plan when you can't risk getting hit again by the opponent that's dodged your special. Then you've got your basic damage to fall back on. What else? So, it's not just characters, I guess, that dodge specials. It's also gears that dodge specials like Riddler's Staff or Mother Box. But because of the way we've geared him, he has the additional option of shattering them with Claw of Horus as our third gear. The problem when you gear him like that is he's not particularly hardy because 2 gear slots are used to maximize his power generation. The third gear slot is we're using right now is Claw of Horus to shatter Astro Harness if it shows up. And it's really not a lot of situations, right? If there's somebody with a no damage gear loadout or Astro Harness, that's when you really need the gear shattering. And it's not necessary, but it really speeds up those fights. And I think at some point on a no damage gear loadout, you need to have somebody with damage over time or Claw of Horus. And so the rest of the team, Hawkgirl, as usual, to tag in and tag out faster. She's got Astro Harness to make her our tank. None of our other gears really matters. And Rebirth Raven is to protect against specials by stealing opponent's power. So despite not having any Justice League teammates that boost his passive for damage reduction, still super effective because his Special 2 is so good. Now that's week 12 since the end of the 4-year repeating challenge cycle. We are still in uncharted territory. There are still 17 more missing challenge characters that may potentially be put into the schedule. Based on what's happened since Gaslight Batman came back after that absence of years, we've had a new schedule that's alternated between the old 4-year cycle and sticking in between each of those characters a returning lost challenge character. So New 52 is the old one. Who's going to be next? If we had to guess at one of the lost challenge characters, it's going to be Darkseid Prime, and we'll get into the reasons why when we talk about the store. This week's multiplayer reward is Arkham Origins Deadshot. His passive is Trick Shot. Bullets from Deadshot's sniper rifle and wrist guns ricochet, dealing damage to all characters on the enemy team. When Arkham allies are in combat, each 10 seconds Deadshot will shoot the enemy with an electrified round, draining enemy power. He's got 1450 attack and 1250 health. He was last available December 14th, 2023. That is 186 weeks in a row of a consistent pattern. And we've just completed our 6th cycle of a 31 reward sequence. So unlike the challenge cycle, nothing's missing for multiplayer rewards. If the pattern holds, next week should be the 7th cycle, starting again with Mother Box. Okay, so Deadshot. What do you got to say? He's got very high stats. The first part of his passive makes him a good offensive character. It's the splash damage. And it works with both his basic damage and his specials. His basic tap attacks will shoot bullets, and both his specials have bullets. So the tap combo, first hit is a punch, second hit is a shot from his wrist cannon, and about half the time, if you keep on tapping, he will go on to his third hit, and about half the time, you can repeat his first and second hit. So it's a good offensive passive in general. Doesn't matter if you're using him as a special specialist or as a basic damage dealer, you will get the benefit of it. And if you really want to lean into it, Batman Ninja Joker can add more splash damage, or you can give him gears that will give him more splash damage. However, so aside from characters like Batgirl and Luchador Bane, where you can leverage the special 1 damage and boost it to ridiculous levels, special 2 is more useful for splash damage because special 2s generally do more damage. Batgirl and Luchador Bane are exceptions to that because the stun boosted damage of Cloak and Necron's Scythe and their ability to stun before or right at the start of Special 1 means Batgirl and Luchador Bane can generate way more Special 1 damage than anyone else. And the 50% splash damage of League of Assassins Knives on Special 1 as a percentage is much higher than what you can get from any gear for Special 2 splash damage. Like, Fourth World Godly Mace is only 15% splash damage on Special 2. But that's to make up for the fact that Special 2 usually does more than twice the damage. So it balances out a bit. And all the Batgirls and Luchador Bane are basically notable exceptions. The second part of his passive can potentially drain 1.5 bars of power. So it becomes even more important in fights against him. When you're facing his teammate, you need to knock out his teammate quickly so Deadshot does not have a chance to drain you while he's off screen. We've done a bunch of videos on him. They were a while ago, but link for the playlist is in the description, where we've used him in multiplayer as a basic damage dealer, a special specialist, and a splash damage special specialist. Part of what makes him really good is not in his passive or just him inherently, it's that he's got Arkham status. So that gives you a chance to take advantage of Arkham Knight Batgirl as a teammate and that general Arkham synergy. And let's face it, right? Every Arkham character is better because Arkham Knight Batgirl exists. The same way, every Flashpoint character is better because Flashpoint Batman exists. It just makes them all good for that universe. Okay, so the store. This is why, even though we don't know, if I had to guess, and we've guessed wrong before, there's an Apocalypse Darkseid challenge pack for 200,000 credits. There's a 6.16% chance instead of the 2.86% chance in the regular challenge pack of getting Apocalypse Darkseid. And this special, more expensive challenge pack is not worth it unless you plan to sell back every other character except for Apocalypse Darkseid. We've done the math on it. If you're just keeping even 2 or 3 characters and selling the rest back, you're still better off buying the regular challenge pack. You see that there's another new pack in store. It's a character bundle Flash TV, and it's not new. It's been cycling in and out. $24.99 Canadian, because that's the only currency that matters. It contains Reverse Flash and Metahuman the Flash, both multiplayer characters, and 2 copies of his signature gear. Makes it slightly even less of a deal than the similar kind of packs with 2 multiplayer characters. At least those have 2 different gears. The problem is Flash only has the 1 signature gear, unlike, say, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, who have multiple gears that have extra abilities just for them. Okay, Justice League pack is around for a second week. We talked about that last week. And what else? Just a bunch of packs that have been around for literally years. Okay, Phantom Zone is finished. Fight 62 is still broken. Last weekend's breakthrough for Golds was, as expected, Catwoman, Deathstroke, and Raven. This coming weekend is probably Cyborg, Batgirl, and Black Adam. Link in the description to a thread in the Injustice Mobile subreddit from Devlin16 that goes over the complete breakthrough cycle. And yeah, so as far as current glitches go, this is usually where we go into more detail when something significant changes, which did not happen this week. But even if nothing changes, we do go into a bit more detail and talk about some of the nuances of the glitches once a month, the first week of every month. Most recently, that was a recap from July the 4th, 2024. You can see a video tutorial for every working glitch in our playlist current working glitches linked in the description of this video. The main thing worth mentioning is that the challenge reset glitch has been confirmed to be working on this week's New 52 Superman challenge. And that's it. So this is where we like to give a big thank you to our patrons on Patreon. That would be Michael Devries, Irvin Ruiz, Hoshi127, Nora Klimek, and Paolo-Cesar-Pablo-Juan, who are supporting us on the credited level, and 5x5, who is supporting us on the gratitude level. And thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. Komoda.